What's up guys, how's it going? Welcome to our next video here. We've been working on a Ford with a flat tire. I want to talk quickly about swollen lug nuts. So, come along for the video. So this is my lovely spare tire. Like I said, pitting, surface rust. And I have the 20-inch wheels factory. This is an 18-inch wheel for the spare, just so you're not thinking when you drop your spare that there's going to be an issue. It's the same size tire, just a different wheel. So yeah, the lug nuts. Okay, the Ford factory lug wrench. Okay, some of these lug nuts are already messed up, but this one here's a good one. Okay, you're thinking, well, I'll just put my lug wrench on there and loosen these up. But guess what? It doesn't fit. It doesn't go on. Why is that? This is a problem. It's a swollen lug nut. What happens is, whatever these are made of, you have basically like a normal looking nut, like a lug nut on the inside. Then you have this cap, this chrome PVD coated cap on the outside. That swells. Moisture, atmospheric changes, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what takes place, but it swells, and then your lug wrench does not fit it. I believe the OEM size for the lug nuts is 21 millimeter. I had to use a 7/8 inch socket, 7/8 inch wrench to get the lug nuts off. The risk you have with that is when you're tightening them up, a 7/8 is just a little bit loose on those lug nuts. So on some of these, you can see where that 7/8 turned, on these two especially, and created an issue, which I shouldn't have an issue getting it back off, but we'll see what happens when my replacement stuff comes. So if you're roadside and you have swollen lug nuts and all you have is this wrench, you're dead in the water. They say you can take a hammer, if you have one, and you can beat the wrench onto it, but then how do you get your wrench back off, in theory, without damaging the lug nut to be able to get it back on? It's a common problem. It's a big issue. One of the first things I recommend is for anybody that has this style lug nut, 2015, 16, 17, heck, I even think the 2018s, 19s have the same issue from Ford. And it's not just F-150s. Go with aftermarket. I believe CJ Truck Parts out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They're online. They have a brand, I believe it's Gorilla lug nuts or something like that. You can get replacements, and supposedly those don't swell. So now what I did, and it's sort of a surprise but not really, I ordered a whole new set of wheels and tires, just doing everything completely different. So these lug nuts are going to go, and I bought the regular style nut. It doesn't have a cap on it, it's open-ended, and there's going to be a hub cover or stud cover, or whatever they call it, on the wheel itself that I'm getting, so you won't even see those open-ended lug nuts anyway. Let's just go ahead and get the spare tire off, and then we'll take a look at these swollen lug nuts. Now obviously, because they're swollen and we're using a bigger socket, we're gonna have a hard time getting this off, so I'm gonna have to get a hammer and try and bang that socket off. And you gotta be gentle when you do this, because you don't want to bend your wheel studs. But if you pull it all the way off, then you're not gonna be able to get your socket off. Alright, so here's a classic Ford swollen lug nut. As you can see, it's completely enclosed, and I mean, you can tell that it doesn't fit right. Now, I can't really describe it to you, but you can actually feel how it's bulging here on all the faces where your socket would go. And that's why the socket really doesn't go on very easily. So that's one. Are really bad here. See how mangled that is? Terrible, terrible design. So now I'm stuck trying to figure out how to get these two off. Alright guys, so off camera I figured out what I have to do. A little bit of trial and error, but I've got a Dremel with a cutting blade. What you need to do is cut through the skin of this lug nut, the cap. And you just make a cut all the way around, and you can pull this cap right off. Underneath this cap is what looks like a regular lug nut. This is the one I did, and it works. It's time consuming, but it works. So my lesson learned on doing this one is I need to cut closer to the hub here, so that way I have a little more bite with my socket. And I'm using, I don't know, probably 3 blades. 3 of these Dremel blades. Do what you gotta do. That might be enough. And then you gotta kinda use a screwdriver, like a chisel, and get in here and try to pry some of this metal. Now what I'm gonna also do, if I got a little bit of blade left, I don't got much, I'm gonna cut outward here. Now that gives me a little bite here for my screwdriver. And you just kind of pry at it. See that? See how it popped? Now look here. It's going to be hot, but so I'll probably drop it. That's it. That's the cap. This is what swells. That's the actual lug nut. You get that cap off, you're golden. Now, I had a tough time finding the right size socket. I'm using a 13/16. I don't know if that's the right size or not, but it seems to fit the best. There it is. So that's how you deal with the swollen lug nuts on a Ford. It's not fun at all. And it sucks, it's a terrible design. So do yourself a favor and get yourself some aftermarket lug nuts ASAP. That's my public service announcement for today.